And I'll just start sharing the screen. Okay. Just wait for it to load. Can everyone see that now?
Yes.
Okay, this is the meeting issue. Welcome to meeting number 8 of the SingularityNET archive bi-weekly meeting on the 6th of September 2023. The SingularityNET archive contains a history of the activities of the SingularityNET Ambassador Program, and our goal is to provide a collaborative platform for the SingularityNET archive to share knowledge, ideas, and best practices, and we welcome contributions, whether it's a new project code example or documentation. And currently we have present Peter and Vanessa and myself. I'll add in attendees there, and I'll just go through in this agenda. We're just going to go through the project board. I don't think do we have any other items, Vanessa, for the
Not
agenda?
really, no. Just to say that Andre just DM'd to say he's coming in 5 minutes. He's had a power cut, so he.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'll just check the messages here. Oh yes, I see. Okay. Okay, if we start from the top, first of all, the first item, I've got them grouped here by labels, and the first one is the Ambassadors GitBook, and this is all of us. Any updates on this at all? I think the last discussions were, as I recall, because I was just did timestamping of the meeting, the last meeting recently, was that it's kind of in status a little bit, and it's requiring updates from onboarding. Is that right, Vanessa?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a list of the active groups and kind of when they meet and what they do, and I've just not had time to put it up, but I will make that a priority straight after this meeting. There are probably other things that we could be updating, and Sukra and I kind of had a list of things which probably should be on that GitBook. So yeah, I'll do some work on it straight after this meeting, and then I don't know if Peter, if you've got any input on stuff you think should be added or changed, or
Not as of now, no.
I mean, there has been some discussion about what should be in the Getting Started channel, as I think you're probably catching up on, Peter, since you've been away. But I think that what we've onboarding has a document, which I think you've seen, where we're kind of listing all the stuff that should be in there. And even if it doesn't go in the Getting Started Discord channel, it can probably go in the Ambassadors GitBook. But I think what I'm trying to do also, and there's an issue for archival workflow, is I need to work in how often we update that GitBook into the workflow.
Okay. Well, I put those notes there. They're very brief, Vanessa, if you want to add to those notes. Yeah, go on.
Could you just really quickly, because I haven't got it open, could you just add updating Ambassadors GitBook to archival workflow?
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind. Thank you.
I mean, practically speaking, I think I'm the one. I think all ambassadors have the power to edit the getting started message.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay. It would simply be the moment you update it, also update it on GitBook, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. But I think there is discussion about whether it should be different content. There's been people who said that they thought it should be different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't really know where that is going, but I think those who said it don't have time to work on it. So I don't know, maybe it's something to discuss in onboarding or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's skip for now. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we might come back to this a little bit in the archival workflow issue, but let's move on to the next one, which is in order, which is the issue for the archive GitBook, which is the work of August. Vanessa, do you have any?
Yeah, I'm super behind because, you know, we were discussing the idea of bounties last time, and we were leaving things unarchived in the hope that we could get people to archive them as a bounty. But then we've had discussions since then, that we're not going to do that immediately because there are issues around it, and we'll come on to that later. But I just need to catch up, basically, so it'll take me a couple of days.
Okay, others put some delays because of bounty discussions, but I've done one update for the archive, but that's it really. So anyway, I'll move on to the, because we were discussing it, just
Oh, actually, though, but
yeah,
for August, just while you're here, we had discussion, I think 2 meetings ago, or maybe 3, before you went away anyway, about getting the documentation for the ambassadors town hall. Is that still something that, because I think we agreed that we'd post, that you or somebody would post something in meeting summaries?
Yeah, true. Basically, because of the design of the meeting, or the outline of the meeting, consisting for a big portion on workgroup updates, which theoretically should be covered by their own meeting updates. If I remember correctly, the idea was to for me to push the second, like the more open portion to the meeting summaries. And well, for yesterday's one, I didn't do that so far. Quite simple to do. It was just a bunch of call outs to initiatives.
Okay, I think that might also be, I think there's another issue for this, but I put to open portion to be included in the meeting summaries channel, and we'll take it from there for that one. And I'll just copy that, because I think there might be an issue for that as well. So
there is, you're right.
Yeah. So I'll just cross-referencing there it is. So let's go back to jump to this one and put that in the note there as well. So I'll just, when we come to them. Okay, the archival workflow design. Vanessa again. Sorry, any updates on
I'm just talking.
Yeah. We were talking
it's
about
not finalized yet.
Yeah, and
it's not finalized yet. I do need to add a couple of things. But yeah, one of the issues I think is going to be the fact that we've got our meeting summary templates, and I need to kind of get to all the work group leads and go, can you give this a try and see how well it works for you? And I think I anticipate a little bit of I'm not sure if people will go with it, because I think they've kind of got their way of doing it, and they might be a bit pissed off at the idea of somebody going, well, can you try it this way instead? But in the last meeting, Andre and I were talking about the idea of maybe trying to do some sort of a breakout room in the ambassadors town hall. And I just don't know, are you doing breakout rooms at all at the moment, Peter? Because I missed the last, yesterday, so I don't know. But if we could kind of do like something to explain to people why we want to use these new meeting summary templates and where it's going to lead us to, how it's going to help us automate some of the archiving workload, then people would feel more enthusiastic.
I agree. So far, we don't do any breakout rooms ever in town halls. That being said, the content would be aimed at people hosting meetings, right? And only, so it's a small audience.
But then saying that, not everybody who hosts meetings can get to that town hall, can they? So maybe I should just talk to people individually. Maybe that's better.
Well, it makes me wonder if it would simply fit as a portion of the town hall. Like, it's not going to be half an hour, right? Probably.
Oh no, it'd probably be like 15 minutes at the most.
In my mind, it would be fine including that in the town hall.
Okay.
Alternatively, if you prefer a separate session, that's also an option, I guess.
No, I think it'd be good to do it in the town hall, but I'm just thinking, do all the work group leads go to that? Because I still might have to sort of speak to some people separately, I guess.
Yeah, fair. Well, it's not mandatory, so can't guarantee that everybody will be there. Most of the time, most are there. That would be somewhat of a description.
Well,
Mm.
should we,
I would say keep it, do it as part of the town hall, or perhaps after town hall, with like, well, just telling people like, yeah, this is it. If you're not interested in the upcoming portion, then feel free to do whatever. But then to still include it in the recording, just for visibility, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a thought. Yeah, it'd be nice to like integrate it into the town hall somehow, because if we just go, if you're not interested, then hop off, then people probably will hop off because of time. So if we could fit it in. Andre, we sort of talked about doing it yesterday, but what's a good date for you? Next Tuesday or the Tuesday after?
Yeah, that's fine. Next Tuesday is fine.
I'm a bit worried about if I've got time to put something together in time, but
Well, the next
So-
one is also. Oh wait, let me just look at something quick. Yeah, the next one is also fine.
the 12th of September, or the one after?
12th or 19th.
Yeah, 12th or 19th is good with me.
Can we go 19th? Because I'm just a bit
Okay,
concerned I won't have time to put something together. So yeah, let's minute it at the 19th, and that'll be definite.
okay.
Okay.
I mean,
Thanks.
practically speaking, if you decide on the day before that you do want it on the 12th, I think we can arrange for that as well. So
Oh,
yeah.
nice one. That would be good. Yeah, I'll give it a go. Let's say for the minutes, Stephen, let's say aiming for 12th, and if not 19th. All right, that feels better.
Okay, I'll just do it all to that. I put of 12th or the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the archival workflow design, and we go on to the next one in order, and that's the LLMs to create archival finding aids. So this was complementing tool development and guidance notes, and work to commence shortly, and related to the tagging process. Is that right?
I'm wondering if we should minute that this is kind of superseded by our deep funding proposal.
Yeah,
I can drop a link to it in the chat,
yeah.
because I think we've realised that it's kind of outside the scope of what we can do within this work group, just because, you know, you've got to pay people a decent amount to actually get involved in the tagging, and it just feels like it's a discrete piece of work.
Okay, that's interesting. That raises an interesting issue about how we manage that. Should we include updates on the deep funding proposal in this meeting, or
I don't know.
I think for updates on deep funding status,
yeah,
the deep funding town halls are better for that, as it caters to the whole deep funding community.
okay, so we should transfer updates to, if it's funded, up to deep funding.
Yeah.
Town hall, I suppose. Is that right, Peter? Yeah. Is that how the updates are done if they're funded?
Yep. Yeah, you can simply call for either a breakout room. Alternatively, you can submit update videos asynchronously, and they can get added to the website on status update page.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, yeah, so all the detail is in that deep funding proposal, but for the moment we'll should I close this issue then?
No, I think I'd leave it open, because I think we could still have updates in this meeting, couldn't we? If it got funded, I think we'd still want to integrate it to some extent in what we're talking about, or wouldn't we?
Yeah, I will put the budget amount down to 0 though. For the
Yeah,
moment.
good point. Yeah.
Just because if it's a separate funding element, if it is funded, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then we can revisit it depending on the status of what happens with that proposal. Yeah. Okay.
And also, just to say that if you're interested in reading it, Peter or Andre, just, you know, if you like it, then a vote is a good thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think I submitted it under my name, but it was largely drafted by Vanessa, to credit where credit's due. But yeah, if you'd like to look at it and vote for it or comment on it, that'd be very welcome. Okay, move on to well, we already discussed this meeting summaries from President Town Hall, and we're going to have an open portion to be included in the meeting summary channel, and that's just what Peter just mentioned. So that's already been discussed. And then we're on to the planning for or our issue.
Apologies. Sorry to come back on the previous on 6.
Yeah.
I did see in the previous notes that a mention of the slides being public, like in the very first note on this issue.
Oh yeah.
Might be good to link to that somewhere.
Yeah.
It's basically in the public folder of the ambassador program. There's a slides folder. Yeah, every time I'll just put the slides there.
That's SNet folder location.
Yeah, I think it's called Ambassador Program Public. I can link it to it in chat if it's any help.
Please.
Yeah, I won't put it in here because this is very public. Public folder. Okay, so we're trying to include that in our archiving. Like that. Okay, I'm now moving on to the this issue is for which is due on September the 30th, by the way. So it's like a preparatory issue for the quarterly report for Q3. There was some notes at the last meeting added, which was, what we need to include in that quarter report. And I think Vanessa and Andre, you were talking about including updates on meeting summary templates, even though that may not be completely, and then the beginnings of the development of Bounties and testing and drafting interface to do GitBook updates, which we're probably discussing other issues in this meeting. Is there anything else we need to add to that?
No, nothing from my side.
I guess just, Andre, I was just wondering, like we talked in the last meeting about what the timescale might be and whether we would have anything to share about the interface and whether, how do you feel on that?
There I've done some tests. I would look at the templates you made and then because I have done some testing and it looks like it's going to work. I just need to decide what we need those templates so I can design according to the templates, and then
right. So I need to send you the final version of those then, don't I?
Yes.
Right. Could you minute that, Stephen, so that I don't forget to do that?
Send what exactly?
Send the final versions of the meeting summary templates to Andre.
And then if I have that, then I think it's gonna take some time to because I think it's 4 different versions. So maybe a month after I have that, it will take me a month to finalize how it gets processed and sent to the database.
Okay, so this is more about updates to the quarterly report. So a lot of that won't be, all we probably will say in the quarterly report is things are in development. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just put that into the other issue because it's not relevant for that issue. It's relevant more for the tool development issue.
Yeah.
And I'll come back to that briefly. I'll just put a brief note in there. Send that, and then we go back to in order. Okay, so yeah, so we have got some idea about what we're doing for the quarterly report, and we need to do that. I suppose we have another meeting in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, so if I maybe try and have a draft ready for that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. And like,
Um,
also, if anybody thinks of anything that they've done in the last 3 weeks, but the last 3 months that we haven't got already listed here, just stick it in the issue and then I'll see it.
So I put a draft ready, roughly a draft ready for the 20th of September
Yeah, sure.
meeting. And we're quite well prepared for that, so that's fine. And I'm not sure if any other work groups have done that, Peter, but that's what we do. We kind of track all our work using these issues, and then we've been doing a quarterly report, which summarizes. I think you're aware of this, aren't you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah.
No, broadly speaking, this is something, hopefully for the end of this quarter, we'll get it for all the work groups. Vanessa did, I think together with Tommy, did some effort on collecting these reports.
Yeah.
And yeah, that hasn't been too fruitful.
I think it may take time to mature, but I suppose it will be useful in the long term.
Absolutely.
To sort of demonstrate how the different work groups are, progressing and all that.
Yeah, on a broader zoomed out level, I think output visibility is a issue for the whole ambassador program as well as a whole. So,
yeah. And also zooming out a little bit, because it's one thing to do, like, you can get very much bogged down into the detail, like week to week, day to day. But to take a quarterly look is, I have that summary, I think is quite useful, because you can see, what progress overall, what macro progress is being made. But I'll leave it at that, unless there's any other comments on this one.
Yeah, just that. I think there was some discussion when we put in the last one. We had some conversation in this meeting and in Discord about whether it should include like projections for what we plan to do for the coming quarter, and we agreed that it should. So if anybody's got any ideas on what should be included there, just come to the board and add a comment about what you think you see us working, unless we want to actually talk about that now. What do we see as our broad overall work, for the last quarter?
For quarter 4, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, any ideas?
I don't know, do we want to talk about it now, or do we just want to talk about it in the next meeting?
I mean, I suppose I can put it out there. I mean, I can't think of, at the moment we have quite a lot going on, because we've just put in the deep funding proposal, but I suppose that is tangential to this. But I can't think of anything. We're already doing quite a lot of work up in preparation already, aren't we?
No, you're right. But I suppose the reason I'm raising it is I was thinking the other day about the other sections of the SNet ecosystem. And like, if we get this automated archiving process up and running, which obviously we won't do in time for quarter 4, but if we do, it's something we could roll out to other people and go, do you want to use this? And it feels like maybe we should be building relationships and kind of finding out how they archive, if they archive, what kind of archiving needs they think they might have to record, what they're doing, and make it public.
These would be like product areas, like the kind of new nets and things like that. Okay. Do you have any input on that, Peter, about, do you think there's any perceived need, or is it something that maybe we need to present to people in different product areas?
Well, yeah, for context, they're all their own entities, right? The moment they spin off as a project, they're standalone. So the decision making is fully containerized, let's say. Like NewNet might think about this completely different than any other spin-off. So that does make me think that the kind of pitching approach would make most sense. So they're all just different. Like for example, NewNet, they are very active in putting forward all their dev updates, and they do this on GitBook, but they are the most consistent / intense on reporting. And from community side, I am aware that often people are asking for example, Singularity DAO to provide updates in the same way, or like setting a standard there. But honestly, for me, it's hard to assess like how well they're doing on actual archiving. Like they're putting out a lot of stuff, but if it's properly archived, I don't know, it's on GitBook, so it should be decent.
Yeah. I
But
suppose
yes, I'm thinking about like if we are developing this approach to automating some of these tasks and making it easier for people to do, maybe that is something that we could say, you know, would you like to help us trial this? Would you like to try it out? That kind of thing. And just in order to do that, I think we need to go to them first, finding out what they already do and what they see as, you know, any blockers and any needs they have. And yeah, I suppose pitching, as you say, Peter, it's kind of, yeah.
I suppose, yes, so it could be like pitching automation of meeting and archiving tasks, yeah, Vanessa. And I suppose it would be then, as you say, Peter, they're independent entities of different product areas. So I kind of missed what you said. What entities do you think would be the most fruitful, to approach first if we were going to approach? Did you say SingularityNET DAO or?
Well, it depends. Like, in a way, lately Singularity DAO is not pushing out too many updates altogether, so that also pushes down the need for proper archiving of that.
Yeah.
So based on that, I would say NuNet might have a bigger need as to simply have more output.
Okay. I mean, that's something to think about then, isn't it? So we could NuNet as a possible candidate. Yeah.
But that would also then be something that's paid from their budget, and so far with the ambassador program is not there. Which
yeah,
nice way of integrating.
Yeah, I suppose it would be a budget issue, because if we that may involve either budgeting from their entity or from deep funding or something, wouldn't it? You know, so yeah. But it's worthwhile putting it in as an option, don't you think, Vanessa?
Oh yeah, definitely. I was going to also say, does anybody know? I was talking to somebody from Mindplex the other day, and
right,
I didn't actually get onto this question, but I just wondered, Peter, do you know where they're at with like how much material they collate or record? You know, what's their record keeping like? Or shall I go and ask the person I was talking to?
not sure on Mindplex. So I'm familiar with.
Well, technically they haven't spun off yet.
Okay, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I think that will be towards the end of the year. Will be happening.
Okay.
Okay, but that's another option, you know. So it looks like the order is NuNet and then Mindplex.
I don't even know about Mindplex. It's just because I was talking to somebody from there about something else, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's interesting. I don't know.
Well,
maybe we put it in the report and we think about it, and
well, these are just rough notes. So we're not committing to anything here. It's just ideation notes, you know. So that's fine.
Well, in that same light, there was interest from Rejuve and Sophia first to also become involved in having a ambassador program, broadly speaking. So yeah, then Archival also makes sense once that starts rolling. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay. If I move on to the next issue. Okay, this is how to archive group meetings. Now, I know that I did listen to the recording of the last meeting, Vanessa and Andre, and there was a discussion about I actually got a backlog of timestamping. I quite like timestamping because it enables me to, it enables me to reference particular issues, you know, and then to see the discussion around those issues. And yeah, although I did create a backlog, and I apologize for that, I'm kind of up to date now.
Yes. Cool.
But the other thing that did come out was, yes, it does sometimes take time to archive a group meeting. Like, so it can be like, let's say we have this meeting today, and I won't maybe do the timestamps may not be produced for, say, up to a week. Yeah. So the question is, should there be a very quick summary posted?
Well, I think in the last meeting, Andre and I, we kind of said, yes, it should. And I did what we suggested, which is basically going through all the issues, making like in the meeting, a comment should be made and headed with what date it was. And then if there is anything to add in terms of an action item or a decision, then I'll just put it into a meeting summary and put it in the meeting summaries channel. Because I also think there is this issue which has come up before around meeting summaries, around the idea that people go and look to see what happened and to, I suppose, just check that if another similar issue comes up in their meeting, they know what other people are doing.
Yeah, the timeliness, the timeliness aspect of it. Another thing that did intrigue me, I listening to what you were discussing, that there would be a possibility to automate that, Andre, wouldn't there? Because there's without actually doing anything more. Like for example, if I comment here on this issue, that comment is dated today. Okay. So you could run an action which would just run through all these issues, check to see if there's any comments on the day of the meeting. And if there is a comment on the day of the meeting, then that is part of the summary. And if there's no comment, then that wasn't discussed. That could be the kind of procedure. What do people think about that?
Yeah, that's possible.
I suppose
might have to.
Yeah, go on.
You will also, if we do it that way, then we'll also have to stick to some format, like to identify decisions, and then I can build some tool to automate. So it will just look at all the last comments and look at the dates, or it will just look at all the comments that was made on this date, and then create a meeting summary from there.
Yeah, I suppose the only issue there, it would collate comments, and some of these comments are not very intuitive, are they? So
yes,
so you might
they have to stick to some rules.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if we label things action items and decision items, if they are, would it be able to automate just to pull those?
Yeah, we could do something like this, like let's say they put a brackets around it. Something like that, like action item. See, Andre, would that work?
Yes.
And so that we can, and then have a standard format there, and then maybe an update item or something, or status item or something. I don't know, like that. I'll put those as examples. So but again, there's no necessarily in the short term, I suppose, as you say, Vanessa, we should just go through the issues discussed and add them to the meeting summary channel at the end of the meeting. So that'd be a task for me, wouldn't it? So
no, I don't mind doing it. It's really quick, so I can do that if you want.
At the end of each meeting, and that gives us okay. I mean, it'd be nice to automate it, but again, that's just another task to do.
I mean, what I'm thinking is that automating it would be something of a trial basis. We'd have to work out exactly what labels we give things and what we ask it to pull. But my question is, where would it pull it to? Where would it extract it to, Andre? Would it post it direct to Discord or?
Yeah, I can build something that at a certain time it collects the data and then sends a Discord message.
Okay.
Can even send an update to the GitBook repo as well.
Because I'm just thinking that maybe at first it might be better if it extracted it to somewhere where we could correct it and then post it to Discord, because I'm not convinced that, do you know what I mean? I'm not sure we
can do that. I can make it so it first sends it to a database and then Someone can
Yeah.
look at it, then approve it,
Mm.
and once it's approved, it does all the other stuff.
Unless when it posts to Discord, does it have like its own account that it posts as, or does it post as if it was one of us? Because it say like if it posted as me, then I can correct it if it's gobbledygook, can't I?
You could post it as a, I suppose that if it was an action, it would be posted as a bot, wouldn't it, Andre? And
Yeah, it just looks like a bot.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, I suppose it's a question of priorities, isn't it? Because we are,
Yeah.
I know, I'm aware that Andre, we're working on the more fundamental tool development, which is, I suppose, there's a priority over this. So it's
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
it's more
This
kind of,
can,
yeah,
yeah, we can do this when we have nothing else to do.
exactly. It's just, it's just, I just heard you discussing it, and I thought, right, that is something we could do, but obviously this would take work. But it's an interesting thing to think about, also for other projects as well, because, you know, it's a way to automate the complete summary of this entire meeting, because if you just, all you'd need to do, as you say, Vanessa, is have some standard labels like this. And then at the end of each meeting, you would just run an action, which would then, you know, go through, iterate between each issue, pick out the labels, and then extract those labels into text. And then you would then post that to Discord or a Discord location. I mean, that's quite, yeah, go on.
It would just be like a matter of working out how we minute those things. Say, like, for instance, if you've got an action item, it needs to include who's going to do it. So that's what you'd have to minute. But
yeah,
it's just another layer of automation for people who use GitHub boards. It probably isn't that useful for people who don't. So I think, yeah, our focus for now, I'm sort of thinking that maybe what we should be doing is trying to use one of the meeting summary templates, because that's what we're kind of working with. And that could be a demonstration or a practice, Andre, if you were wanting to see how those work. So yeah, we should do that, shouldn't we, really?
That's actually better, because we need some examples to practice on.
Yeah, so I put here a priority is to use a meeting summary template. Yeah. But in future we could do that, so that's more nice to have, really. Yeah.
Well, what I'm going to do is, like, I'll write meeting summaries as you've said, but I will try and do it using a template from now on.
Okay. I'll just put that use the meeting summary template so we know that's doing, and that's just an NB, I'll put an NB, so something to note for the future. Yeah, if, as you say, Andre, if we have time, I mean, we've got lots of other stuff to get on with. So, okay, and then moving on to the next item, which is the archive GitBook backlog. Again, looking at the recording, there were some issues there with formats. I heard you discussing, you know, so I need to check the formatting for the historic months. Is that right, Andre?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, or I could, I mean, yeah, I mean, and also there's the level about the archive GitBook backlog. There's, because we kind of agreed here last month or a couple of meetings ago not to archive past Miro boards. And this is for the benefit of people who just new here, or people. The main reason we decided to do that was because originally we were taking high definition images of the Miro boards and archiving them, but after we thought that there's no way to extract information from those boards, so it's really not really doing anything by archiving them. So what we really need, because of the AI element, the LLM element, is text. And to extract text, we need some kind of text summary historically. So the minimum that we have on that is just what happened. Like, so for example, if you go back to November of last year, we don't have that a great deal of information, but the information we do have is this happened, like this meeting happened, that, you know, these people attended. We won't necessarily have much detail about what was discussed, but that's what we would have. Is that my understanding? Vanessa?
Yeah, that accords with what I thought we'd agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, so I'll just proceed on that basis. I mean, there's
Yeah.
anything else to add to that? Okay.
Oh, there was that issue about. Oh, maybe that's in an. No, sorry, that's in another issue. We'll come to it.
Okay. So there is it's a bit frustrating, the archive GitBook backlog, because I did well, Miro actually helped a bit as well originally, and we did a little bit of work on this date range, January, February, but in April, April and May was the beginning of the work group itself. But we found actually that a lot of the stuff we archived in January and February we're not actually going to use, because we just archived we were at the beginning, we're archiving a lot of images, a lot of links, and we learned actually over time that that's not very useful, because if you archive a link or an image, it can't be fed into an LLM. Is that right?
Yeah.
I can save it in the database, and when the LLM like gives information about the meeting, then it can provide that as links as well.
But I suppose it's really what you need primarily. I mean, what was missing is that we were archiving, like, for example, images and even video links, but we weren't having any text, you know, because the primary thing is that you need, well, apart from the obvious things, you need obviously the standard text, like the top level heading of the week, and then the name of the, but beyond that we need like basic information like who hosted it, and even one line about like what was it about, even if it's just like a sentence, you know, otherwise it's completely useless, really.
You know what would be useful? I don't know if it's possible, but I think in the early stages, from what I've seen, quite a lot of the meetings were recorded by Read AI or some other method. Read AI at least gives you quite a nice meeting summary. So the actual transcript is pretty garbled, but the summary, they're not hugely accurate, but they might help.
Read AI was only introduced later on.
Okay.
It was only introduced in, is that right, Peter? I think we only started using it in June.
Oh, really?
Either May or June, I'm not super sure.
Yeah. So that's too late. It won't cover.
Can I get access to the Read AI?
Yeah.
Maybe at one point I wanna, because I know it's got an API, so maybe I can play around with it at one point.
Yeah. I think can you go through TiVo on that?
Okay. It won't cost anything, eh?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
But it's something I can look at in the future. I think when I reach that point, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, I'll put that as an action item here. Could you approach TiVo? I think he has, there might be a cost implication to it, but he will, you know, he will be able to see what that is, I think.
Start as we mean to go on, Stephen, and tag that action item.
yeah, of course. Oh, look, it's the beginning of something new here. Look
Oh
at
my
this.
goodness.
Oh my God, it's a revolution. Okay.
That's
Okay.
the other thing I was going to say about the archive GitBook backlog is that the heading structure that we're now using and have been since July is how it should be. But I know that I changed it at some point, and I can't remember how far back it was. But when you're doing the backlog, if you do it the way that it is now, so
I might have gone through and done it to everything.
Oh, okay,
Because
cool.
I know you had a discussion that you thought that you wondered why it was all working.
Exactly.
And I went through and I noticed some discrepancies in formatting. I can't remember when it was. It was about a month
Oh,
ago.
right. So it was you that fixed it.
And
Excellent.
I just went through everything and changed the markdown headers.
Nice.
For the
Yes.
sake of people who are listening don't know what we're talking about, is that in a GitBook, the top there's 3 main levels, okay, which help us to pass information. The top level heading is the God, I've forgotten now, is the week number. Yeah, or is that right? Yeah, I think it's the week number, and then the day of the week, or the day of the week. Yeah, it's the day of the week. Sorry, not the week number.
Yes.
Yeah, the week number, something else. Yeah, the top level heading is the day of the week. And then the second level is the work group meeting, the title of the work group meeting. And that allows us to pass that data in a standard way. So all the program has to do is look for, the day of the week, and then it will see, okay, here's the meeting, and then it will pass the meeting record, and everything underneath that meeting record will be the content, the text content associated with that. That's all. It's all how it's all set up, isn't it, Andre?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And we are looking at other options. This is all in to tag things, like here, for example, we can tag things potentially if we need to add further information, and that's what we may experiment with going forward. So that was just for information. I'll just put that out there.
That's hilarious that you did all that updating, because you probably saw in the last meeting, I was like, I know there's some in May that were not right, and I couldn't find them and I didn't know why.
Also, a quick way of doing that is, the slow way to do that is to do it from the GitBook front end.
Yeah.
But if you do it from the back end, it's a lot quicker, because if you just open up the raw markdown file at the repo, then you can just do a search straight through, and then you can also you can very quickly update indents on headings. Whereas in GitBook, it's a bit of a faff, because if you go to GitBook, you have all the controls that you have to use. So
maybe at some point you can run me through it, doing it via the back end, and then I'll know.
Yeah, I will.
Roughly know, but I don't know in detail.
Yeah, I mean, here's the. I mean, as you know, it may take a while to come up, but as you know, GitBook will require you to go through all this, click on do a lot of clicking around and go to a week number. So I'll go to a week number here, and then then you have to do edit, and then you have to once it goes to edit, then you have to go against the particular heading and choose it. Yeah, like, as you know. But you can actually go directly. Sorry, this is not really behaving. I think a quick way to do it is get away from this. Is that if you go to the public version of the page, Vanessa, so if I go to share, copy the published link, I think I enabled it so it'll enable you to see the source on, let's see if I've done that. No, I haven't. Okay. Okay, I can set it up. I'll set it up so that here you can press a button which will allow you to edit the source on GitHub, but I'll do that. Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So that's the archive GitBook backlog. The next issue is publicizing archive workgroup meetings.
Yeah, well, that's going really well. As you can see, the 50 people who are coming to these meetings. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Peter's here, so you obviously got the message.
I've not really been working as hard as I could on this.
Yeah.
And also, you know, I think people are getting a little bit like I've noticed a few times people saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to be at such and such a meeting," and then something crops up and they don't make it. So I think people maybe have intention to come to things and then things get in the way. So I don't know if anyone's got any thoughts about what we could do to encourage people. I mean, I don't know, maybe I need to say something in the ambassadors town hall about what we're going to be doing next week and make it sound exciting. I don't know.
And what do you
I
think?
think honestly, we had this discussion before, like a couple of meetings ago. We said maybe the thing is we need to have tasks, and so I think this dovetails with the bounties issue, which comes next. So maybe we should,
Right.
unless anybody's got another idea for a task that we could invite people to do, which would make them feel like, yeah, I want to be onboarded into this.
Okay, for context, then I think you did a couple of town halls, or one town hall, where you kind of put a context to what the archive work group did and encouraged people to come along. I'm not sure if you were there, Peter, or not, but this is a month or so ago, I think. And then we've moved on to that. What seems to have happened is that people have settled into their work groups. That's my impression, and focused on the work there. So what we've moved on for is this bounty approach. Is that what you're saying, Vanessa?
Kind of, because we had as an idea for what the bounties would be is archiving a meeting, and then when we come on to that issue, which is the next one up, you know, there are problems with that. So basically, with publicising the archive workgroup meetings, people will come if they feel there's something for them to do that they can earn money at. So if we can think of another task that we could bounty other than actually archiving a meeting,
okay,
I think we'd get people coming. But I'm a bit stumped as to what that would be. So I'd wonder if anybody here has an idea on that.
right, a kind of more generic task.
Well, just any task that doesn't involve a cost in terms of making people members of the GitBook, editors on the GitBook.
I wonder, yeah, but that won't bring them here to the meetings.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Yeah. Okay,
I have this other idea to maybe reward, because people are rewarding themselves for writing meeting summaries. I've noticed in the payments, like small rewards. So maybe maybe that's something we can push as well to get them to write summaries.
That's good. And if we were to encourage, you know, if somebody was going to do it, they would do it the way we've talked about, as in going through the board, picking out the things that have been said and using a meeting summary template.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually, because then we don't have to.
Because then
because one of the big problems with that is in the past is that we get different. If you ask someone to do a meeting summary, you get 10 different ways to do people doing a meeting summary. So if you've got a standard template, then people will have a guide for the task. Yeah.
No, that's brilliant, actually. Andre, from what you've seen, what sort of bounty level are people giving for that sort of work?
Like for process modeling, there's creating the meeting summary usually takes like maybe half an hour, but there's other stuff involved as well. We have to update things on the Miro board. So just writing the summary is part of that process. So that whole process takes about half an hour. And then that's just gets paid at the $10 an hour rate.
Okay.
So it's maybe like $5 for a meeting summary.
I mean, it's something, isn't it? And also maybe we should up it to a little bit more because we're enforcing a process that we want to test, and it won't be familiar to people. It's not just writing it, it's doing it this particular way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A process.
All right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's
then-
yeah, go on.
I think that's then they don't have to manage those tasks anymore, you know, then they can just pick up the task from our board.
Yeah.
To write a meeting summary.
Well, that's good food for thought. Let's see what we think.
And are we saying, though, that in order to do the task, they'd have to be at the meeting or not? Is that time?
Yeah,
No.
I don't. If they're recorded, if the meeting's recorded and timestamped, well, that's all the summary.
No, but
Summary-
we're trying to do this to get people to come to meetings, and then hopefully when they're here, they'll get interested.
Yeah,
They
no,
we can tell them they can come to the meetings if they have feedback they want to share with the process.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite good. If we put that as first on the agendas, or a particular point in the agenda, so they know when to show up, and they don't have
Yes.
to go to the whole thing, then yeah, that's really good.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm thinking is I need to get the process, you know, in terms of the workflow that I haven't finished. I need to get that into the workflow, as in we minute it like this, you open up all the issues on the board and look for a heading with this date, and you know, all that. So I need to, I'll have that for the next meeting, and then we could start putting bounties out for it.
Yeah, that sounds like it's coming together there. There's some logic to it, which actually would, you know, it's like a kind of compromise between doing it manually and then it's like a path towards automation as well. So it's good. Okay, I don't want to take too much text here or subject away here from the next issue, which is probably going to, you know, discuss it in more detail. But that's all public. So that's, I'll close this issue for, not close it, I'll move on to the next issue, which is bounties.
I do have to hop. I had a hard stop at the top of the hour. I'm
Yeah, sure.
late,
Okay.
so I do apologize, but
Oh
Yeah.
no, thanks for being here. Thank you.
So thanks for coming, Peter. It's much appreciated.
well, your work is much appreciated. So.
Well, that's nice. Yeah. So yeah, come again, and we'll try and do some updates at in the meeting summaries channel and at town halls.
Cool.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on bounties. This is a new issue. I'm kind of not completely up to date apart from watching the recordings on this. But there's quite a lot of work that you and Andre is doing, yeah, Vanessa?
I think we should probably retitle this to Bounties for, oh god, how to describe it, Andre? It was
Maybe
specifically
for archiving.
Oh yeah, specifically for archiving meetings. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, this previous topic was all pretty much almost the same, because it's also for archiving meetings.
Yeah, the previous topic.
No, it's in meeting summaries. This is about getting things.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah, there is a difference. Yeah.
And the previous issue was about publicizing meetings as well. So this
Yes,
is about
yes.
bounties for meetings. Oh, all these meetings.
Yeah.
I do have something to ask about this, which I think he's wrong, but let me just find it. I'm looking for the meeting summary channel. When I posted the summary of the last meeting in meeting summaries, Rojo said that he was under the impression that it doesn't cost to have somebody write a meeting summary, archive a meeting directly on GitBook if they're not an editor. And I think he's mistaken, but I'm just trying to find out exactly what he said. So carry on and I'll find it in the meeting summaries channel.
Yeah, I think he is mistaken. Yeah, but I think any level of access, correct me if I'm wrong, Andre, but any level of access to a GitBook, even if you're an editor, you know, even if you're just like the lowest level of access, is still included as a cost. Isn't that right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, because you pay per member. if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
You pay for who has access, don't you?
Yeah.
So
Even if they don't have access to other boards, if they only have access to one board, you still pay for that member.
Yeah, even if it's like the lowest level. I can't remember what the lowest level is. It might just be a reviewer or something. And but even that is just counted as a member and charged as members under GitBooks. What's it called? Subscription plan. So it's quite expensive, and
yeah, it is.
It's that's something approximately $7 per person, isn't it, per month?
Yeah. $8, I think.
$8 per person per month.
Yeah, I've just posted in chat what Rojo's comment actually was, just for reference, and I think he says, can't people get push commits to the GitBook every week without being editors? The editors can just accept the comment. That is true, they can, but having them able even to do that costs. Right?
Well, there is a workaround which you might be referring to.
We can.
Yeah, go on.
The thing I'm building now will be able to do what he said there. So anyone can then use our interface that we've built without being part of GitBook.
Yeah, but strictly speaking, it's actually push commits to the back end. So strictly speaking, it's not. It's a push commit to the GitHub repo source, not the GitBook. I know it may sound pedantic, but it's important distinction, because you're bypassing the GitBook entirely. Okay, so you're pushing commits to a GitHub repo source, okay, which then updates the GitBook. Okay, so and that means that's a workaround to avoid user stuff, I suppose. But that's dependent on, and that's you're building a tool, aren't you? Andre's building a tool to do that.
Yeah.
I've already tested it, and it's gonna work. It's gonna work.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's the answer to that. And maybe if we want to point Vanessa or whoever we could respond to Rojo.
Oh yeah, we should. What I was going to say is that this, I mean, it just winds me up when people post comments directly in the meeting summaries channel, because then I get lost about where I am with it.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, I was going to say to Rojo, oh, could you post this in the archives Discord channel? But I thought actually he should probably be posting it on the relevant issue on the GitHub board, no?
Yeah, he could do that. Yeah,
because he is a member of the SNAT GitHub organization.
Yeah, well, I could tag him in now, but I don't like tagging people in without them being present.
Okay.
But you can, like, for example, I think I can't remember what his username is. Is it Rojo?
I think it's just
there
Rojo.
it is. There he is. Look,
Rojo Kaboti, that's it.
Yeah. So, but I don't want to tag him in without.
All right.
I mean, I could tag him in, but I prefer to tag people in if they're present. You know?
All right, fair enough.
I mean,
what's the point of tagging them if they're present?
I don't know.
And they've seen it.
I know. It's just. I don't know. Let's just. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so I could just put Rojo asked. Okay. You.
I mean, the text of what he asked is in the chat. So
yeah, I'm trying to. There's a weird format in text. I was trying to copy it.
Oh well, let me do it then and post it in.
When I was, can you post it in? Let me just close. I'll let you so you can update the comment. Okay. But that will alert Rojo that he's been tagged.
Yeah. which, you know, I'd like to get people like using
Yeah.
the
No,
board
so
a
you-
bit more.
it's
wouldn't
a
you?
useful feature of GitHub. So
Yeah.
So we
Sorry,
should-
which issue is this in?
this is bounties for archiving meetings, and it's the
Okay.
6th of September comment.
I can't even find that issue. What have you done with it?
You
Oh, I've
see-
got it.
Number
I've got it. It's all
50.
right.
Yeah. So if you could just put quote marks around Rojo's tag.
I'm just doing it now.
And where that appears in bold, that means that a person has been tagged. Okay. So just for future reference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something we need to think about actually. I know it's something we could think about in other contexts now, Andre, is when you use people's name tags, you know, are there any uses we can use for that? So
Yeah.
particularly task allocation, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, like if everyone is a member of a GitHub board, you know, is a member of GitHub, then in theory, when we allocate an action item, we could tag their name in. Okay, and then what we do with that is, because one effect it would have, it would send alerts to them, which could be quite annoying if they don't have the settings set up, because you can set it, but also it could be used by the GitHub API, couldn't it? So you could identify that, this is Rojo, and Rojo's being asked to do XYZ. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Just for future reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
So
we'll still have to have like a format, like
Yeah.
action items and then tags with
Yeah.
description.
I think you're right, Vanessa. I think it's reasonable. I don't know why I was thinking that. I was thinking if it's about Rojo, then I think it's fine to mention him as a GitHub user. Have you done that? So I refreshed that.
I have, yeah.
There you go. It's all done. Okay, is there anything else we want to discuss? Oh, well, is there anything else we want to discuss on bounties for archiving meetings?
I mean, I just wonder in terms of organising the board, maybe we should make a separate issue for the other bounties that we were discussing. But I don't know. Shall I look at it after this meeting and just because it feels like we're opening an issue and then going, oh, actually the comment belongs in another issue. So it feels to me like it needs a bit of a tidy.
Okay.
Right.
I'll move on to another community engagement issue, which is, well, again, this might be some repetition here. Guidance notes and templates for meeting facilitators. Where does that fit in, Vanessa?
I mean, it's pretty much still as it was last meeting, because I haven't had time to share them. And we were still saying, oh yeah, let's try and do an ambassadors town hall on the 5th of September. And now we've said it's either the 12th or the 19th. So I need to get the final versions to you, Andre. And then I need to draft something that we can share, like maybe some slides or something that we can share in a town hall, get them to you for comments, and then it wouldn't be anything long. I'm just thinking like 5 minutes where we say, okay, here are the reasons why it's a good idea to use templates, and this is what it will help us do. And then maybe we show the 3 different templates.
Maybe we can mention the bounties in there as well.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
We'll get them motivated.
All right, Miss, could you again put that in? I'll close this and put what we just said in there.
Okay.
I'll just close comment if you kind of.
Oh, actually, well, no, I'll do it while I think of it, but I just want to note exactly what we said it will include.
Yeah.
So that would be helpful.
Yeah, exactly. If you could add it to the comment.
Why is it showing in a different order on mine?
I've closed it, so you should be able to access it now.
Yeah, I can access it. It's just that it displays in a different order, the list on mine, than it does.
Oh, if you order it by labels.
Oh,
No, I'm looking at the Kanban board display version.
Oh, well, use the overview version.
Oh, no, I've opened the wrong one. Sorry, yeah, just ignore me. Carry on.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to add to this
Yeah,
comment,
I'll do it.
and we can do that. I can also where did we mention that? We mentioned it before here. I'm trying to think where we mentioned the meeting summaries. Yeah, you can also link between issues. That's what I'm trying to make a point. Yeah.
Right, okay.
So what you could do, for example, if you wanted to mention, so say, let's take an example. Let's say you wanted to talk about this issue, you could copy the link to that issue, yeah, and then in this issue, you could then in the comments you could reference that issue. So I mean, so you could paste it in there, so you could say that, and also the other issue would know that that's been referenced as well. So it's a way. I'm trying to talk about, because sometimes we have discussions about things which are covering multiple issues. So yeah, it's just from food. It's just from food.
It's a good idea.
Just from food. So if we're discussing something where it's referenced, yeah, another issue needs to know about it. That may be something to do as well, I suppose. But I'll move on because time is running on a bit. So if we move on to tool development, and I suppose you gave a lot of updates last time, didn't you, Andre?
yeah, I did some work. If you scroll up, you'll see I've updated the commits.
Okay, cool.
I think the last one was the 27th. So 26th and 27th now. So I finished the code to be able to commit to GitHub. So we can, if people use our interface, then we can commit to GitHub. But I'm going to change it so that it first sends it to a database and then we need to approve it before it commits to GitHub. So I just need to, at least I know we can commit to GitHub and we can take existing files and decide where it needs to be in that file.
Okay.
So the dates solved that problem, like the date headings and workgroup headings.
And that gives you all commits. That gives you all the commit options, so you can give a commit comment as well.
I haven't looked into comments.
No, just out of curiosity. So that's something, because when you do a commit, you can have a header and a comment. I'm just trying to think if we would use.
Oh, like a message with the commit. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think why would I just mention that in case we need to think if there's a use. If there's a use for it.
There is actually a use, because I'm using my personal GitHub token to do these commits. So what we can do is we take the username, whoever did the input of the information, we can maybe put their name in the message, so we know this person did the initial input. Because on GitHub, it's going to look like I'm doing all these commits because I'm using my token.
Oh, right. Okay. In development. Okay. So, and each commit would be when you're running the tool.
Yes.
Okay.
So we need a way to capture whoever did the input. So we can just capture it in the database, but I think if we do the commit, it would be good to have the user's name in there.
That's quite interesting. So let's say we onboard people, then the minimum they have to be onboarded to GitHub membership then, yeah?
No, they don't have to. They can just
go through.
They will log in. They will log in with Discord, with this interface. So they just need Discord. Then we can put their Discord name in the message.
Ah, I see. Okay. 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 It could be included in the header or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would, because the token is always going to be you. Is it always going to
Yes.
be? Or
Yes.
yeah,
I have
But-
to refresh the token every 30 days.
yeah. Well,
So,
isn't there?
and I've
Isn't
got
there
like
can't
3
you
repos. Yeah.
can't you make a secret for that or something? Or
It is what happens is for safety reasons you have to refresh it, because
Really?
if someone has that token, they have access to your GitHub.
all right, okay.
So every 30 days I need to go into all these repos and refresh all the secrets of this new token.
I thought there was a way around that. I thought there was a way you
No,
could.
there is. In GitHub Actions, there is a way to, it's built into the way you write actions. Then you don't have to, you just write GitHub token and it
Well, you wrap it.
automatically-
You wrap it in a like a code or a secret or something, or I can't remember what it is. Yeah, but okay,
Yeah.
but the for the sake of implementation, a Discord name can be included in the message header, which
Yes.
means we can. That would allow us to to automatically track contributions. Is that right? Track commits, I suppose.
Yes, yeah.
Track commits and contributions, and meeting summary, meeting contributions.
Yes.
Something happening there. That's useful. That's really
So
useful.
if the database crashes, then we have the usernames on GitHub as
Yeah,
well.
and then that could be a way of paying people ultimately, or working out who should be paid for what, that kind of thing, as well. I
Yes.
suppose. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And you can tag more than one person, like if a task was something that 2 people did together.
I imagine so.
Two
Well,
or
actually,
3
no.
people. Not too many people, because I think there's like a 20 character limit.
Okay.
It's not very long.
Wouldn't it be limited by the people who can log in though? Because if they're going to be logging in, wouldn't they be logging in one by one from Discord? Or couldn't only
Oh,
one?
yeah, that's also true. Yeah, that's also true.
Okay, so it's only one person at a time. Yeah.
We can put in the interface, like if they want to add other Discord names,
Yeah.
if it becomes necessary.
I suppose
But
I'm
there
just
isn't.
thinking about things like initially archiving meetings, there is a task for somebody to actually, to do that. And then there's a task for one of us to verify it and
Oh, yeah.
it's work.
Yeah, we can add our names to the message as well, whoever verified.
Oh,
So-
no, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we can, whoever fills the form in, we can put in the header, and
Yeah.
then we can put the verifier in the header as well.
Right.
I'll put those rough notes there to remind us of this discussion. But yeah, it sounds like it's quite flexible, Andre. But so
yeah,
I mean, the thing to do is to, I suppose, let you get on with it, and then once it's in a state to demonstrate, which should be quite soon, I imagine, then we can work from there onwards. Yeah.
My next steps is just to change. I'm gonna set up a database to take this info, and then I have to build a page where we can view the info and verify the info.
Right.
While I wait for the templates from Vanessa. So I still have a lot of work to do while I wait for the templates. And then when that's done, then I can take the templates and then create the user interface for them.
I think just for the record, I want to say congratulations for doing it so quick. I think it's brilliant how fast you worked on this.
Yeah. There's still some work. I've just done a simple test, really.
No, but seriously,
The actual
just
work
the thinking.
still
of
coming.
this,
That reminds me.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because, I was going to. I wish I mentioned it at the beginning of the meeting. Actually, I was thinking about costings for this, because this is tool development should be, well, did we agree 500 a month?
I think it's too much because I did like an hour a week there.
So
I usually do an hour.
okay.
No, but if you think about it, that's an hour a week, and a month is like 4.5 weeks. So it's not, it's 100 an hour. It's not 100 and a bit an hour. It's not a lot, is it?
I mean, we can come back to this. Is also generally about budget, because I can't remember what we agreed last time. I'll be putting in a fund request at the end of each quarter.
I think we said that, yeah.
Okay, so we need to discuss that at the next meeting. Because I did close down some issues out of time, actually, because so that they're charged in the correct month. Or particularly meetings here.
Yeah.
So I think I closed them down so they'd be charged in July for meetings in July, that kind of thing. And but I suppose when we come to the end of the quarter, we'll need to do a review of everything to see if it's been costed correctly. How should we handle that, do you think?
I mean, I think some of it is about what we can close out in the next meeting, because that'll be our last one before the end of the quarter. So I'm aiming to be able to close out the actual archiving of August, and then, the meeting summary templates, and, a few of those issues that have sat on there for a while in the next meeting. But yeah, I think it depends on closing an issue, doesn't it, really?
I'll put it on the agenda I'll create an issue for the next meeting. And we need to put on the agenda, don't we, really?
Yeah. I mean, do you need a separate issue for it, or do you just need to put it on the agenda?
It just needs to be on the agenda. I'm just creating,
Okay.
all I'm doing here is copying the standard text and adding it to the meeting.
Oh, I see, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not creating a new issue. This so I don't forget, that's all. So
Oh, Andre, with the tool development, did you ever work out what the glitch was about February? Because remember we were looking at it and you said that the tests you did couldn't manage to pass stuff from February.
Yeah. I'll have to, I think it was something else. It wasn't no, it wasn't. The text was actually fine. It was something on my side. Something happened there. I'm not sure. Still trying to find the bug, but I think the text is fine, because at one stage it did parse it correctly. So something happens somewhere else. I have to find it.
okay, so I'll start drafting an agenda for meeting 9, and at the top of the agenda will be to close out issues for funding requests, or the fund for end of quarter funding requests. Okay, so and that will need to, I suppose, a lot of our meeting will be on that next time. Okay, and it'll just be there.
And I think that will actually tie in, Stephen, with the quarterly report.
Yeah.
What we've closed is what we report on, isn't it?
Yeah. And then artist link in there. So copy that link. So the other thing would be, as you say, I'll keep it in the main body of the issue as well, Andre. So oh no, I won't. I've done it in a separate comment. But okay, relate closed issues to that. Okay.
Nice.
I think there's a way to, I can't remember what the way is. There's a way to make that display as a.
I think it does. Does it?
There it is. Yeah. There you go. So it displays nicely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And also that means that this is referenced in that issue.
Excellent.
So if you go to that issue, it'll reference the meeting here. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking we should probably talk about, as you've got it there on the agenda, we should talk about what we can close first, and then when we get to the issue about the quarterly report, we should make sure that everything we've closed is in my draft.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 1, close out issues. 2, relate close out issues to the quarterly report.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's already a. Well, why does it change it to A and B? That's weird. It's got a mind of its own, and can't do that, you know. So anyway, okay, well, it doesn't make any difference, does it, I suppose. But the yeah, so we have to. I suppose that will take up a lot of the meeting the next time.
Yeah.
Sorry about that little diversion. We're now on to the. Unless there's anything more about tool development, Andre, I'll move on to governance GitBook. Okay, I'm not again, the last discussion on the recording was that there was not really much going on about this. Is that right?
I mean, a lot of it is going to depend on what happens with the governance work group, isn't it? So
Yeah.
but there is another thing actually. In the deep funding focus group that I'm part of, we were talking about how we're going to archive, well, not archive, but how we're going to record what we talk about in those meetings and where to put it. And I said, well, you know, we could find a space for it on one of the ambassador GitBooks if people didn't feel that was too much of a conflict of interest. And people kind of thought that because there's an infrastructure, then yeah, fine. So I was thinking that rather than trying to squeeze it somehow into the ambassador's archive, which doesn't feel like the right place for it, I wondered if maybe a section on the governance GitBook, because it is kind of a governance thing. The only issue I have with that is that it changes the governance GitBook into something archival. At the moment, it's not. We've had that discussion before where it's basically just descriptions. So I don't know. I don't know what people think. Any thoughts?
Well, look at it. Could have got well, yeah. Well, it's not really been. It's just called governance work group at the moment, isn't it? And it doesn't really have anything in it.
No, but we could add another section. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would suggest that maybe we change it from governance work group to governance.
Yeah.
So I think there are governance issues that could, you know, this whole work group stuff and that framework doc and all that. Felix has done quite a lot of work in setting that up so that you know it comes out of the GitBook into Google Docs so that people can comment without having to be confident with GitBook and all that. So that feels like it's a section on its own. But maybe other governance initiatives in the wider ecosystem, including deep funding, could find a home here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a possible compromise, because you're talking about the archival element, would be to create a separate section. So
Yeah.
create a separate archive section, and you kind of, or in the governance, in the governance, and call the GitBook governance GitBook or something.
Yeah.
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 What are you thinking?
Yeah, that's
and then that creates a context.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andre? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think that's
Yeah.
it makes sense.
I mean, as they said, I mean, I capture your comment there. The deep funding group said that it could be logical to do that because the infrastructure already exists. Is that what you're
They
saying?
said it could be useful because, yeah, but I think there was also a proviso that if we discuss it later and we think that it's not really the right place for it, then if it's on a GitBook, it can be easily moved to another GitBook.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
And I think this is already back-ended to, I need to check, but I think it's back-ended to GitHub as well. So
yeah,
already set up, and which means it could be put anywhere.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, well that's note of that. I mean, I don't know about any other things related to what's happening in the governance work group or anything. I don't know what the status is there. So is it, you know, with the framework and everything, is that all on hold?
Well, I don't know. The last meeting was a little bit inconclusive and I had to leave early. So if it did reach a conclusion, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
don't know.
I'll just put latest status of.
Oh, but what I did hear is that in the meeting, while I was still there, is that I think Felix is planning to still continue to engage with the group. He kind of announced that he didn't have enough time to really continue to run it, but I think he's kind of thinking that he will try a little bit to have. So it feels like the meetings are. There were some questions about whether the meetings are going to continue, and it looks like they are. So
Okay, I'll just leave it at that then.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
it's kind of an open, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
but also maybe at one of those meetings, one of us should just raise the question of what do you think should be in this GitBook from the actual work group. But maybe that's not. I think maybe that now's not the time.
Yeah.
I think they're still thinking about what they're going to actually do.
Yeah, because that was charged and everything. Well, 1,700. I suppose that's money for setup and work done so far, I suppose. I mean, if necessary, we'll see where it goes. If we are using it for if we're using it for the focus group, then there will be a budgetary issue there as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's something to think about, isn't it? I mean, would there be if all was archiving their meetings, then I can do that, and when I am no longer on that focus group, I can still undertake. If they send me their summaries, I can still add them because that's a small task. Or by that time, it might be automated. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's a question of who pays for it, that's all. So the work that you're doing. So
no, but what I'm saying is that I'm hopeful that by the time I'm no longer on that focus group, it will be automatable and we can say, well, look, you know, use this interface.
Okay.
I mean, that's the question, Andre. Would it be possible for the interface that is going to exist to have an option to send something to a different GitBook than the archives one? Because, you know, it's structured. I mean, we just have to structure that section in the same way as we've structured.
Yeah, I can just add an option there where they can choose which. GitBook.
Yeah, as long as I mean, I imagine you just need to follow the same. Well, if it's archiving meetings, you need to follow the same format. That's all, don't you?
When we do the review as well, then we can also just double check that they choose the correct GitBook.
Yeah.
Okay, that's that issue, and I've created an issue for next meeting. I'll just fill that in there. And one thing I didn't do, I'll need to go back and update the due dates on here. I kind of forgot to do that, sorry. So the due dates move forward now to the next meeting if they're open. So that's now, for example, this one. Well, actually not that one because that's closed. So if everyone's agreed.
Can I just ask, are we closing meeting issues at the end of the meeting?
I think we should. I think we should.
How about doing it when I've done a meeting summary, which should be straight after the meeting?
Yeah, as soon as possible. But yeah. So if you could close it, the reason why is so that meetings are charged in that month.
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
That's all.
But there is a tick box, isn't there, for uploaded to meeting summaries or something? Oh
yeah. Well, yeah, that's kind of, maybe we need to change this. That takes more time, this one, whereas this one could be quicker, I mean, we could change this as well.
I mean, there should also be another one for simply adding it to meeting summaries, because that should be the same day. Shouldn't it?
Yeah.
But add the meeting summary channel.
Yeah.
Then what would be?
And then I guess we could agree that we close meetings once that one is ticked, and then the other two, it's like however long it takes you.
Yeah. So closed meeting. Closed meeting issue. Meeting issue. Am I typing? Closed meeting issue. Okay, so to ensure charge in right month in correct month. Copy this for the other issue as well. Okay. So yeah, so we'll keep that as part of our standard text for the header. And I'll put it in the other one as well now. Yeah. Okay, and I'll go through after the meeting and change all these to the 20th. But if there's nothing else,
I will create a new issue for September for tool development, and then
yeah.
should I close August? Suppose
I could. Yeah, hold on a sec. Well, we could do that now. If you create a tool, I mean, I'll close the issue now. But it's going to be charged in September because it's closed in September. But that doesn't matter because as long as it's closed before the quarter. But do you want me to close it now, or do you want to close it yourself?
Yeah, no, we can close it.
Yeah, okay.
And I'll create a new one.
I'll close that now. Let's have a quick look at anything else there's things like the archive GitBook as well, because I was been closing them, but then strictly speaking, they're not completed, Vanessa.
No, they're not. I'd like it to stay open until I've had a chance, because I'm really behind with August.
Yeah.
Because we were leaving him open in hope of bounties. So.
I think I closed July.
Yeah, you did.
But I'll leave that. Everything else seems to be relevant. Yeah. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so that was the meeting number 8. I'll just I think we're coming to the end of the meeting now, so I'll stop the screen share, and shall I stop recording?
Yeah.